Hey guys, today I'm going to bring you 5 ideas for Spider-Man Homecoming 2. So number 1 is globetrotting. Now this globetrotting movie is the only one I have real contextual evidence for. So there's been some articles out about how Spider-Man, the locations have been around the world. I'm not sure how much I like this, because Spider-Man has always felt like he should be a New York-based or some kind of city-based hero for me. Maybe he moves cities, that's fine, but he should really stay in one city and kind of thrive there. Now, when I was thinking of this globetrotting thing, I was thinking of some international villains to do. And the only one that really I think would be good were either Doctor Doom, which is kind of touchy with the Fox deal. By then, I believe they can use the characters, so that could be possible. But I would save Doctor Doom for Black Panther. But anyways, the real villain I think would be cool would be Kraven the Hunter. Now, Kraven the Hunter, he is this hunter who has this, he started by hunting animals. He was really good at hunting animals. In fact, I believe he was the best hunter, non-superhuman hunter in the world. Eventually, he did obtain a serum similar to Captain America, but he's not quite as powerful. He carries around some knives. He uses a sort amount of guns and weapons. But Kraven goes around the world. He hunts humans and superpowered abilities to see if he can, or superpowered people to see if he can kill them. Now, this is kind of interesting villain because Kraven has a moral code. He won't just kill Spider-Man. He will hunt him like an animal. Now, I think this could be a really fascinating storyline, and I really would like to see them pursue this. Now, number 2 would be Sage. Now, in the comics, Sage is one of my favorite storylines. In fact, it is. One time I was at this carnival, and I won this little bag that contained a lot of comics, and it contained the entire Sage storyline. So, basically, in the comics, Sage is when Norman Osborn, he kind of becomes. It's after the events of Civil War. So Iron Man is actually not around at this moment, and Norman Osborn has basically replaced him as Iron Patriot. Now, you have Bucky, Captain America's team, which includes like Wolverine, Luke Cage, Spider-Man, etc. There's a plot that Norman Osborn is in the favor of the public eye, so everyone loves him. He's created a new Avengers team. They're called the Dark Avengers. It's a comic line, too. This line includes, like, Ares, Sentry, a Wolverine, but it's not Wolverine. He is a different guy. There's a fake Hawkeye, and then there's also a fake Miss Marvel. It's a really interesting storyline. But basically what they're trying to do, Norman meets up with Loki, and Loki wants to destroy Asgard, but he doesn't know how to do it. So Norman goes and hires this guy named the Hood, whose name is Parker, similar to Peter Parker. And basically they have a plot to destroy Asgard. Now, that last part about destroying Asgard, I don't think they would do that in a Spider-Man movie, of course. But what I can see in them doing is the Norman Osborn, Iron Patriot story. Maybe he's in the favor of the public eye, and maybe J. Jonah Jameson can come into play here, kind of make Spider-Man that public enemy number 1. Maybe he's hunted down by the army or something, similar to what Ant-Man and Wasp was trying to do. That could be very, very cool. Now, my next storyline would be I'm going to call this Darkness. Now, I'm going to include some spoilers for Avengers: Infinity War. If you haven't seen it, or if you don't want to know spoilers, don't watch this part. Just skip ahead to the next part. So at the end of Avengers 3, Spider-Man gets disintegrated. But I'm sure he will come back in the next one. It is very, very probable based on how much money and how successful his movie was. So I was thinking, if you're a 15 or 16-year-old kid, he's actually kind of similar to my age, how would it feel if you had died and came back to life? You'd go through some hard times, I'm pretty sure. So maybe Iron Man has died. at the end of Avengers 4. Spider-Man is trying to deal with Iron Man, and he's become a lot darker. Kind of like what Spider-Man 3 was trying to do, but unfortunately that movie ended up failing epically. Well, maybe Spider-Man becomes dark, maybe he adopts a black suit. He doesn't even have to have a black suit. Just he becomes more of a darker hero, maybe starts killing, and maybe he gets a lecture from Captain America or something about how killing is bad. But Spider-Man defies that order, and kind of he's maybe in this storyline he's also, the police and the army are also against him, maybe just like the Sage storyline I proposed. Maybe he meets up with Black Cat, a jewel thief, kind of like Batman and Catwoman. Very similar relationship there. So I think that would be a really interesting storyline. Now my next storyline would be Scorpion. Now, this is another theory that has some evidence behind it. So at the end of Spider-Man Homecoming, in the post-credits scene, Vulture is in prison, and this guy comes up to him, and he has kind of like a robotic arm, or this little like cast around his arm, and he speaks to Vulture about, I heard rumors, I'll play the clip, but I heard rumors that you're, the identity, and Vulture says, no I don't, and it turns out that Scorpion, because you can see the Scorpion tattoo. So Scorpion is also an interesting character. I don't know, he's not really superhuman. He has a lot of powers. He's like a karate powered guy. Maybe Spider-Man has never really had to develop his own fighting style. He always uses his webs and his strength to fight. Maybe Scorpion strips Spider-Man of his powers, and just like Scorpion, maybe Spider-Man has to go off and learn Kung Fu or some kind of fighting style. Maybe he'll meet up with Hawkeye or something, because, Spider-Man team-up movies are really what he'll probably always have an older Avenger in one of his team-up movies. Rather be Shuri or Thor, or, in this example, I would say Hawkeye or Black Widow, because they have the most martial art experience. Maybe Spider-Man kind of has to learn about this karate and, really thrive using that fighting style. Now, on for the last one. Now, I think a Sinister Six movie could be possible. Now, if you don't know, Sinister Six is an ever-changing roster of Spider-Man villains. The main ones you'll see are Green Goblin, aka Norman Osborn, Lizard, you sometimes see Dr. Octopus, Scorpion's always in it, Electro, although I don't think they'd try to do Electro again after kind of what happened in Spider-Man 2, or Amazing Spider-Man 2, at least for a while. This could be a really cool movie. Maybe, at the end of Homecoming you did see Vulture in prison. Maybe that's where all the villains are, and maybe Vulture has a role in creating the Sinister Six. Maybe he has a change of heart and decides to end up turning on Spider-Man again. That could be cool. But I don't think that Homecoming 2 would be a Sinister Six movie. I think they should build up some more movies before they introduce the Sinister Six, because I feel like it would be kind of rushed if they introduced all the villains at once, because that's been a problem that other movies had. Say, Spider-Man 3, for example, it had like 2 different villains. It had Venom and then Sandman, 2 huge Spider-Man villains introduced in one movie. So I think they would not do that. Now, as of characters I could see teaming up with Spider-Man, Silver Sable. Actually, funny story about that. I don't know if you guys watch Emergency Awesome. I commented on this video that Silver Sable goes to the high school. There's a girl with silver hair you can see in one of the scenes, and that got like 500 upvotes. So that's just a little tidbit. Silver Sable, she's kind of like an assassin character that's in the newer Spider-Man comics. I liked her character. She's pretty good. Hulk team up, that would be cool. That's enough said for Hulk. Shuri, I'd really like to see Peter Parker's mind with Shuri's mind. I really want to see more of Peter Parker's scientific ability, because in Homecoming 1 he was always running from those academic competitions because he always had to fight the villains. So I'd really like to see that. That would be really interesting. Maybe another Iron Man team up, but I can really see him dying in Avengers 4. Black Panther would be cool, although it's not on the top of my list. Daredevil, there is the Daredevil TV show, and who knows, they may not be in the universe. I suspect that they may not be. They just say they kind of are, but I think it's really just they have the same rights. Yeah, but this could be cool. Maybe revamp Daredevil. There's another character. She was in the Sage storyline. Her name is Echo. She's a deaf woman, and she's a master assassin. I don't know if you know about Ronin. Hawkeye became Ronin. She was Ronin before Hawkeye, so that could be interesting. So a lot of great ideas for Spider-Man Homecoming 2. Expect that maybe a couple of these will come true eventually. I mean, Spider-Man only has so many storylines possible, so I hope you guys enjoyed today. Make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.